start from? This was a crazy project. I mean, the acting, the set, the costumes, the prop, the makeup, the everything, the locations. It was a crazy project. So I guess let's start from the beginning, all the way to the beginning. Must have been, let's see now, I'm 27. It was when I was 12 years old, so 15 years ago. I was sitting in class, I had a phenomenal Rebbe, and he said over the story, The Skull of a Genius. The reason he said it was very simple. He would say it at the beginning of the year, and after that, nobody would ever fall asleep in class. Or at night, probably. But anyways, while my Rebbe was saying over the story, I sat there in class saying, one day I am going to make a movie out of this story. I didn't think it was going to take 15 years. I probably wasn't thinking much at those days anyway. But 15 years later, Baruch Hashem, we put out The Skull of a Genius. So let's actually talk about production. First thing was, I called this Rebbe. Now, I can't say I was always the best kid in class, so I wasn't certain what he would say. Called him up, and Baruch Hashem, he was extremely supportive. He gave me the sefer that the story is written in. Right after that, I went straight to Ari Abramowitz. I had my first meeting with Ari. Ari is a great guy, and he was too busy to be involved in the project continuously, but he was in there, he is in there. I asked Ari what he thinks, and Ari said it's a great story. I don't know how you're going to do it, but it's a great story. Who's the next thing? What's the next thing that I did? So, you want to build this story. Obviously, the sefer says the actual story, but you want to build it. So the first thing that we had to do is come up with characters. What's Suchi going to look like? What's Fivish, or the fake Fivish, Borsa going to look like? Who is Chaimke? Before you even begin writing the script, that's the first thing that you're going to do. So I kind of formulated the story in my head, and the next thing was building the characters. Every character has his unique way, and I wrote that down. First guy that actually got casted was Suchi. Suchi is Keith from The Edge. Right away I said we need Suchi to be a slow, weird, crazy, yet very spooky guy. And I started to build this character. Of course, I called Keith, and I told Keith, Keith! Well, now he's called Suchi. I told him, Gav, you are acting. And Gav said, no problem. When am I coming in? And of course, when I come in, I'm coming in with my wife and kid. So that was with him. The next guy that got cast was Chaim Brown. We were classmates. Obviously, my Rebbe didn't get to teach a lot when we were in class together. I told him we have this character, the Prague Gabbai. And I explained it to him. And Chaim said, of course, I mean. And that was Chaim. The next guy that I cast was Chaim, the most crucial part of the story. Now, of course, when I wrote the script, Chaim was a smart, cunning, good kid, but very shrewd. And I was teaching in yeshiva. I mean, I'm still teaching over there. It's Chaimke's Rebbe, and I thought Chaimke fits that part perfectly. But I'll tell you when it was. We went on a ski trip together. Yeah, we went skiing together. Chaimke's a pretty good skier. Not as good as I am, but... So I'm over here with Dov. We're about to go down this double black over here. Our last one for the day. And on the ski trip, we spent a long time on the bus together. We were schmoozing. We went up and down the slopes, and I saw him imitating different characters, different people. He was smart, shrewd. I said, this is our Chaimke. One big problem that we actually had was, at that time, he was actually about 1.5 feet shorter and looked way younger. I wanted that he should look younger, but by the time we actually ended up filming, he was about as tall as I am. So that was Chaimke. Chaimke is a great guy, and Baruch Hashem, he aced it in the film. I was looking for a Borsa, the fake Fivish Greenbaum, and I had interviewed many people, and nobody quite exactly fit the part or was unavailable to do it. So one day I was driving, I shouldn't have said I was driving. One day I was looking through my WhatsApp statuses, and they have this good friend, Moshe Schindler, Mint Media. Great guy, and mazel tov on your new office, on your new studio. But anyways, I look at his status, and he has a picture of a video of Yaakov Berger recording for some promo that they were doing. Now, I had met Yaakov a year plus ago. I went to meet Nachman Seltzer, and he happened to have been there. So right away I said, hey, I need this guy's number. I called Yaakov Berger. Yaakov Berger was in it 1,000%, and I am so happy. There's no way that the film would have been the same without Yaakov. He did a phenomenal job. We continued casting more and more of the characters. David Angara, who plays the part of Shloim, I met a short while later, and the first second I saw him, I was like, okay, he's definitely Shloim. He's Zeus. He's a sweet kid. He's everybody's best friend. Anybody that lives in Lakewood knows that. So right away, he was the next guy that I put in. Anyways, I got a bit sidetracked. The truth is, right after I wrote the script, the first guy that I called was Moshe Greenfeld. He is the most awesome person I've ever worked with. And he'll do everything that any project that he's involved in should be like, wow. So I called Moshe. I actually sent him the script, and then I called him. His first two words to me were, Baruch, you are crazy. And the next couple of words were, when are we starting this? I'm psyched. He said it with a little bit of a Hasidic accent. But anyway, Moshe was in. I started to build the characters together with Moshe. He started sketching up different pictures, which complemented the characters that we built for the film. And all right, we have a project. Next big few things that we had to get were locations. Where are we getting this castle? Where are we going to shoot this Prague shul? Where are we going to do these things? Of course, the first thing that we thought of was, let's all fly to Prague. The problem with flying to Prague was, though, that Prague in 2019 does not look the way Prague looked like in about 400 or 500 years ago when the Maral lived. So what we had to do was build our own sets. For that, I got the extremely talented Chaim Bald. Put him in charge of, he became set designer, and he started to sketch up what we're going to do, how we're going to build, what we're going to build. I had a couple of very bashert stories. First thing is I did a game show in this place called Coventry Country Club, and I looked at the place. It was right after I finished writing the script, and I was like, this is perfect for the shul. And that's where we actually shot the shul scenes. Big thank you to Coventry Country Club and to Naftali Blonder for hooking us up over there. So that was with that. Now we needed a castle. And there was so many different ways I was trying to figure out where to get a castle from. But it should be an authentic castle. And that is when I found this place. It's up by Lake George, about a 5-hour drive from Lakewood area. I reached out to the guy, and the guy said, sure, you could come, but it cost a lot of money to rent. And anyways, that's where we got the castle. Let's fast forward a little bit to production. Let's talk about actual production. So Keith came to my house. Suki, we should call him now, Gav, whatever. He came to my house. I picked him up from the airport a couple of days before we shot. It was a blast. He is definitely like the most fun guy in the world. We had a ton of fun together. He came with his kid, his cute little Ari. His Ari became best friends with my Yankee. And we had a lot of fun together. Anyways, first day we show up for set. All right? And that's where we had that's the shul scenes is actually the first day that we shot. Punum Chadusha showed up. Moshe Greenfeld showed up with Anthony, his assistant. He had a great team. And they started make-upping the guys. The set looked beautiful. I picked up hundreds of old Svarim and artifacts and Judaic and whatever from Capital Svarim. Thank you, Capital Svarim. And we had a ton of fun. Everybody was in their costumes. It was exciting. It was the first shoot. It wasn't a major shoot. What was major about it is there are dozens of extras. You could see in the set, not always were they the same extras at the same time, because we shot for literally an entire day. Guys came, guys left, guys came and came back. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, the costumes were very, very expensive, and Baruch Hashem, we had boxes and boxes and boxes of costumes we got from Mrs. Horowitz. She is the one that gives for the Interns and many other major productions. Anyways, second day of production. What was the second day of production? Second day of production was the inside the end scenes, which was actually shot inside my house. It was a very hard scene to film. It wasn't actually difficult to film. What was hard about the scene was it was August and we all had our costumes on. Now, these costumes could easily weigh 15 to 20 pounds a costume. The fur is real fur. It was super heavy, and the makeup, everybody was sweating. Makeup was coming off and everything, but Baruch Hashem, we got that. At the end of the first day, we shot the lake scene, which is the second scene where Stefan and goes fishing and they push him into the lake. So Chaim Bold, the set designer, built a dock which we were sure was going to float. Turns out it didn't. We pushed it into the water, and Stefan is supposed to stand in it. By the way, Stefan Zalmanberger, Mazel Tov, he actually made a bris for his son today, his oldest son. Great guy, helped out a ton with the film, and of course he's a firefighter, so everybody likes firefighters. But anyways, we pushed it in, it didn't float. We tried different tactics and whatever. Finally, we were able to shoot it. We had to do a lot of editing and post, but Baruch Hashem, that worked. So that was the end of that day. The next shoot was the castle. This castle was on Lake George. We paid a ton of money, but here's the thing about it. It is an authentic castle. It was actually built by hand. The guy built it for his son or something like that. And we went up there. It was about a 5-hour drive. Many of us were in the car together. You know, some people came up on their own. We had a blast. When you are just in one of the cars were me, Suchi, Borsa, Fivers Greenbaum, Chaimka, and some other guys. We were just in one of the vehicles, and we had an absolute blast filming in the castle. The views were spectacular, as you could see in the film. The guy was a little bit not so easy to deal with, but it was amazing. The funniest thing from the entire shoot happens to be that Ari Chaimowitz, that's his name, right? Ari from PR Productions is an awesome guy. So full of energy, so full of everything. One problem, he's petrified of dogs. Happens to be that this guy had 2 huge German Shepherds. They were supposed to actually make it into the film. We had it in the script, but it didn't actually make it in. Because Ari Chaimowitz is petrified of dogs. So there's actually one really, really cute time where we were in the middle of filming and all of a sudden the guy's dogs walked into the castle and Ari went running for his life. 2, 1, action.
Come on, Chaimka. Let me show you to your room. I saved the nicest one in the house just for you.
But anyways, another cute thing about that story was, first of all, we brought a lot of food along, and for some reason we ran out of food. There was a castle right next door owned by the same guy, which he happened to have rented out to a Chabad family. We discovered that because they came asking us if we wanted to have a mincha. But anyways, we all made a minyan mincha in the castle where we were filming. And all of a sudden they said, guys, we're about to make a big barbecue. Come over and eat. And somehow we ran out of food. And thank you guys. I forgot your name. I have it somewhere in my contacts. Thank you guys so much for providing us all with delicious steaks. And then the next morning, again, with delicious breakfast. We couldn't have made it without you guys. And, you know, Chabad is always there for you. 1,000%. They were there for us then. We filmed straight through the night. Some people took shifts, sleeping all over wherever they found a place to sleep. And it ended up being a lot of fun. Obviously, the hardest makeup job from the entire set was what's his name again? Dr. Skolovsky, who happens to be Yaakov Prupis. Amazing guy also. He's one of the guys originally that I had wanted to cast for Borsa, but he was not available. He has a day camp in the summer, so I couldn't use him for that, but I used him for Skolovsky. Makeup took him about 2-3 hours. He has all the stuff in his teeth. He couldn't eat all day, talk, but he did a phenomenal job just spooking everybody out. And yes, he is the reason many kids are not going to be able to sleep at night. Moving on, what was our next set? Our next set was the marketplace set. So let me put some perspective into this. Chaim Bold had been building the set, which was going to be the marketplace set of Prague. He spent 2 weeks building that set, and it obviously costed a lot of money. The day of filming, so I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning helping with preparing the set. The next day was my first day teaching in a new yeshiva of Morganville. It's Hasidic yeshiva, Besmedrish. Anyway, I wake up in the morning, my first day teaching in a new yeshiva. I pull up there, and Moshe Greenfeld calls me. He says, Baruch, I'm going to bring you a coffee because I'm sure that you need a coffee, which was very, very true. I barely slept the night before. Moshe brings a coffee over to the yeshiva, and all of a sudden Moshe is looking around and he says, Baruch, we are shooting this over here. And I look at him and I said, what are you, crazy? We just spent thousands of dollars building a set in my backyard. What do you mean we're shooting over here? And wait a second, this is my first day teaching over here. I'm going to get fired before I even get started. Moshe looks around and he says, no. Baruch, we are shooting over here. And Moshe, I'm forever grateful. All of a sudden, the Rashiv from the yeshiva walks out, Rabbi Flam, and he says, what are you guys discussing? What's going on over here? I look at Moshe, I step on his toe. I'm like, Moshe, shut up. And Moshe says, you don't mind if we shoot a scene over here? And he's like, what? And Moshe's like, well, you know, Baruch, I'm making a movie. It's called A Genius. And he wants to film over here. And the Shiva, thank you, said, for sure, go for it. So we quickly took all the props and the sets, the horse and buggy, the actors, everything, moved over to the yeshiva. Poor Bochum, they had no idea what hit them. Huge thank you to Ari Greenfeld for that scene, for bringing in about a dozen square Bochum. They had all wanted to act. And that was perfect because we wanted guys with pious or whatnot. And Ari Greenfeld arranged that for me. And Shulam Goldstein, thank you. Mazel tov on the chasna. Mazel tov to both of you. Yeah, both of you guys just got married, Ari and Shulam. But anyway, it was a huge scene. Probably the most expensive scene to shoot, either that or the castle. The amount of props and the detail, the little kids on the floor. And one of the best scenes from the entire film, I think, is when after the whole village walks Fivish Greenbaum out of the marketplace, because he's Fivish Greenbaum, you have that little kid running by over there. I think that is one of the best scenes. There were so many little details that went into making that scene happen, from the little animals and the horse and buggy and everything else. That was an epic scene, and Baruch Hashem, we did it. We did it. We had all the smoke going on and everything. It was a lot of fun to shoot. It was very difficult just because of the amount of people and everything going on over there. But Baruch Hashem, we got it done. The next day of filming was the outside of the in scenes. A couple of short little scenes. And that was done also on the yeshiva. It ended up taking a lot longer because Dove, yes, we discussed that he's a shrewd kid. He saw an ATV over there, which he took for a small ride, borrowed it, took it for a small ride, got lost in the forest for over an hour because one trail turned into many other trails. So production had to stop until he came back. We actually already called Chaverim to go look for him. We were about to call the police, but Baruch Hashem, we didn't need that. Chaimke came back. The editing was done in a crazy amount of time, less than a month. We have probably the best editor in the From world of Nosson Cohen. He sat here knocking out scene after scene. I went to Eretz Yisrael to meet him. I went for Rosh Hashanah and I met up with him and Keith, and I just saw his workflow. He's so fast and thorough, and he's brilliant with his soundtrack, sound effects, edits, and everything else. The main job of an editor really is to make sure that you don't even see the cuts, that everything flows naturally. Everything is just basically, he takes a bunch of raw footage, a bunch of 3, 2, 1, action, cut, and he turns that into a movie. And there's nobody better than Avram Nosson that does that. Now, let's talk for a second about the amazing family that actually came together to make this film a reality. Baruch Hashem, all of us in the entire cast and crew came together and we all became really close friends. The WhatsApp group was always Kanai Nahara lit up, and it was just such a unique family. Everybody blended so well, and everybody's personalities just complemented each other so that we were able to make this film. If we talk about Chaimke for a second, he's Kanai Nahara, cunning, smart, intelligent, but he's so sharp. He was able to give everybody their comment here and there. He found solutions to things like that. He picked up his acting like crazy, and he performed exceptionally well. I'm talking about there were times that we filmed easily straight through the night. He was up at times 2 nights straight, no sleep. And I was like, all right, Dove, we got to do this. And Dove did it, and he did it well. On the opposite side, we have Shloimela, David and Garsher, who happens to be a music genius. He's going to be, with Shem, a very big star in the near future. He's such a sweet kid, and he makes sure everybody's happy, everything's taken care of. It was a pleasure working with him all the time. And then, of course, we have Keith. Nobody in the world is as crazy as Keith is. He's not normal. And he stayed at my house for 3 weeks with his wife and kid, Baruch Hashem. He brought so much spirit to the set. And I'm not even going to get into his professionalism in filming and acting and all of that, how he's actually able to make everything happen, right? Of course, we have Yaakov Berger, who is just, first of all, his acting is crazy. His patience is wow. His talent is who knows where. And he just brought such a light to the set. He is so funny. I could open up my WhatsApp in the morning and I have like 15 voice notes in every different kind of voice, imitating any character in the world. Yaakov Berger. Then, of course, we have the Maral, my brother Yochi. He did an exceptional job at that. He was wonderful. He is the part. Had he lived in those times, he probably would have been the Maral. Nah, that didn't actually make sense. But he's a great guy. Of course, we had Chaim Brown. There is nobody in the world that is as good an actor as Chaim Brown. First thing is, he just made everything so funny and so much fun. But besides for the fun, he has such a keen eye to recognizing exactly what's going on set, the acting, the filming. Even though he's not a filmmaker, he's an actor. But he was there dedicated, coaching, guiding, and helping everybody out. And he's just so funny in certain scenes. The camera, especially the marketplace scene, when him and Ari were going off each other, the camera was just shaking. Nobody was able to control the laughter. The boom mic was shaking. It was ridiculous. And of course, Chaim is Chaim. There's nobody like him. And once we mentioned Ari came on set. It was a small part. He's extremely busy, but he did me a huge favor. And he came on just for that marketplace scene. And the few minutes that Ari does act is wow. He has this character that he always plays, that tamimish guy that's always like the sidekick trying to help out. A real tamimish guy, and he nails it as he does all the time. Hopefully we'll have him on set many more times in the future films. We had Stefan. Who's Stefan? Stefan is the Duke's son. A small part in the film, but he was on set almost every time we filmed. He's a great guy and a firefighter, as we mentioned earlier, and he just helped out all the time. It was amazing. He was always there running errands and whatever. Usually he went with his lights and sirens because, but he was just amazing. Thank you, Zalman. Zalman was great. Let's get to the crew a little bit. Moshe Grunfeld is officially a makeup artist and a photographer. First thing is, he's one of the funniest people around there. And he wasn't even an actor in the film. I mean, he sat in as an extra a couple of times, but he is so funny. Whoever gets to see his WhatsApp statuses or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. He is hilarious. And he added so much on set, but then his professionalism. We already talked about making a film together, Bez Hashem, because he is so good and so professional at everything that he does. On the other hand, he's the calmest guy you could work with. Everything by Moshe is like, yeah, okay, we could have a whole set turning over and we need somebody's beard glued on again. And he comes, okay. Nothing you do could stress Moshe out. And he's a brilliant guy to work with. Next, we had Ari Chaimowitz. Again, he is so full of energy. Whenever Ari came onto set, it was, "Hello, חבר'ה, מה נשמע, מה קורה? בוא לעשות חיים." He's amazing. And of course, his cinematography skills are way up there. He had all the lenses, the cameras, the gimbals, the drones, the everything. Everything that you see over there, everything that you're seeing over there, the one behind the camera was Ari. And he was making the magic happen over there. I also want to give a big shout out to monk number one. You know who you are, Zari Siegel. You did a great job. Zari Siegel did a great job. Inside joke on set, but I just had to put that in there. There was a beautiful lesson that we learned on set. There were many lessons, and of course there's Hashkacha Pratas along the way like you can't imagine. But one of the beautiful things that we saw along filming this film was we built Prague as a set, and of course did thousands and thousands of dollars, and it took weeks of work. And the day of the actual shooting, Hashem said, all right, you did your Stadlus, I have another place that I want you to shoot at. So we see, for me it was a huge lesson. You do yours and Hashem is going to do his. Just because you're doing a Stadlus on one place and it's not working out so well, doesn't mean that Hashem is not going to take care of you. While we're talking about that, we could already talk about Chaim Bold. It was wonderful, setting up every set, envisioning everything that's going on. And of course, last but not least, we must talk about Avram Nassim Cohen, his editing skills. He stayed up nights editing the phone. And that's what we have now. So basically, we had a crazy time doing this project. It was a lot of fun. It was major. We pulled it off in record time. We did all the shooting in under 2 weeks, which is crazy. We did the editing, the main editing, in about a month, just so we should be able to come out in time for Sukkot. It came out for Sukkot. The screenings were packed, Baruch Hashem. If you were lucky enough to go see it then, you know what I'm talking about, seeing it on the big screen. If you saw it with the LED video wall or with the projector, it was amazing. Thank you all for coming. Guys, let's give a big thank you to Hashem for making this project happen, and so long, till next time.